Here's what happened, guys. There are a lot of us that are out there, small business owners who care about our country, that want to improve our country, and that are grateful we're living in the greatest country in the world here in the United States. Across industries, what has come up as a theme in my conversations is the basics. Remembering what the basics are, understanding the basics in different aspects of your business and in your own life, your own self, your health. When you understand the basics, you don't get so overwhelmed with something new. You're able to adapt easier and figure out solutions faster rather than going the convenient or easy route of outsourcing it right away, which in the long term, if you stay in the game long enough as a small business owner, you realize you actually create more problems down the line when you don't fully understand something on a basic level. Doesn't mean you have to be the expert, but you have to understand the direction, understand the basics, and that can help you with making better decisions. Because the more we as a society go towards the habit of easy, convenient, rather than what is right, that ends up causing a lot of bad things to happen in our country. And you could be noticing that right now. I notice that right now. There is a lot of chaos that is out there. And we can experience that with, if it's protesting, to what is happening with fraud that we're noticing in different states, to the Epstein files and the disgusting things that are unfolding there, and the importance of protecting our families and protecting kids, to the poisoning of our soil, our food, our air. We have to be aware of the mess that is out there first, and then realize we can clean it up. We have to clean it up. And there's been a big mess within our country. Think of $38 trillion in debt, over $38 trillion in debt. And the amount of fraud that we're noticing is now estimates are 9 billion in Minnesota alone, in that state. And how the pattern is looking, it's happening in more than one state. So coming back to the basics is really important. And we're in a time now, and I've said it before, 65 to 80 years, it has led us to this moment in history where massive change is going to happen. We now have to decide what that change looks like. And as small business owners, I want America's future to be a small business renaissance. I believe in that. I see that vision as a possibility that can happen, but it's going to take a lot of us coming together to unite across industries. And when you understand the basics, what happens is then you can become more confident in new ideas that come your way, new strategies that you could implement in certain areas. So basics look like understanding the basics in marketing, understanding the basics in sales, understanding the basics in the taxes, thinking of hospitality tax if you are making prepared foods, or the accommodation tax, understand that if you're in the hotel business. And then just knowing business licenses, like the importance of setting up the business license in your specific city, understanding that process, knowing the basics helps you to move forward faster in the long term. And in the short term, it can feel overwhelming, but these are really important because the more that you understand, the easier you can notice patterns in different areas of your business and specifically within your industry. And then that is where innovative ideas can come up. That is where you can look at a problem and see it completely different for the solution than someone else in your industry. And that can be a great differentiator for you, for your business. But then you can become a leader for other small business owners within your industry to help them and guide them forward to make your industry even better and to raise and elevate the standard. And that is really important for this movement, this national movement of small business owners uniting, is raising the standard here in this country to be able to have the greatest comeback in history. Because with our economy, looking at the debt of here in the US of over $38 trillion, we've got to fix this. We got to look at this. And so what I want to start to do moving forward is creating series for you, because I have a lot of interests. I've had a lot of conversations that have gone in different directions, but it's how do we connect these puzzle pieces together in order to create then the full picture of how we can move forward into making America's future a small business renaissance. And what I mean by renaissance is we're looking at small business first for decision making. How to then make sure we have small business owners who have ownership Ownership, not just, let's say, a physical location in the building that you're owning rather than leasing, but also ownership in your life, ownership in your health, ownership in understanding where your food is coming from, understanding that there are chemicals being put in our foods and how do we get rid of those chemicals, understanding that how do we have a happier marriage? If you're in a marriage or if you're in a relationship, how to make sure that you're taking care of your partner and making sure that you're being a provider for your family, understanding how, when it comes to ownership, taking ownership of responsibilities and mistakes, or taking responsibility for the mistakes that you make. I've shared it before here on the show of how I lied for the first event that I hosted, a social media conference where 500 people came together. I lied about how many people were attending in order to get to create momentum for the event. I lied to the team, I lied to the community, and I really was lying to myself, saying I could handle this when I couldn't, and I had a really hard time asking for help. And it can be really difficult as a small business owner to take that ownership on. You think about your reputation. That was what kept coming out for me. I'm like, I don't want to ruin my reputation and be embarrassed and have this event fail. But you signed up for this. And you have to remember that with ownership. You signed up for this. There are 36 million small businesses here in the US, but there is a high failure rate that can happen. I've compared different groups of small business owners for failure rate, but this is not for the weak. And so by you signing up, you moving forward and stepping up, it's going to come with a lot of pain and a lot of responsibility. But with the conversations I've had with other business owners, I've been in this for over 11 years, over 11 years when I started my first business, I realized I wouldn't want it any other way for my life. This to me is worth it for that responsibility, for that ownership, because of also who I become as the person I grow into as each year goes by in my business. What I learn about myself, what I learn about my community, what I learn about my relationships with others, what I learn about my country. So moving forward, I'm going to create these series for you. We're going to get on different topics because what I want to bring together with this show for you is theology, economy, politics, culture, all of that. I was trying to figure out a way to tie that all together. I mean, these are just puzzle pieces. We're bringing it all together here. I was making it really intense there. But what I want to say is all of those are connected. And when we can understand the patterns within each one and how they're interconnected, you can then be able to move forward with a new level and standard of confidence in your life. And within this, I believe then the more of us as small business owners move forward in this way of understanding the basics and move forward in these understanding these patterns in these different areas of theology, politics, culture, and the economy, the better our country is going to be. And that is where then America's future becomes a small business renaissance. So that's ownership. The other one is taxes, regulations within your specific industry. And then as a small business owner, understand that. Before really getting into conversations locally, I didn't realize that there's a hospitality tax in certain cities. I hadn't known that. So that was something new. Accommodation tax. Even a tour, what was that? Tour tax? Yeah, tour tax for was one. Then you have the state sales tax. And I've talked about taxes before here, but just understanding this and not just outsourcing that, understanding the basics is really then important for you to be able to have a new perspective when you have a conversation with, if it is your CPA, having a conversation with your CPA. You're able to then notice how to make better decisions in other areas of your business. And that is a great skill to have. The other one is then bring back Made in America. How do we bring back production here in America? Making sure we're coming back to local communities. I really relate this back to the local farmer, the family farm that keeps on. I was looking at the years, and I did an episode on this, which you can check out for family farms. But how do we have a renaissance also within this industry and other industries? Making sure that we're bringing back local produce, minimizing the supply chain. How do we bring the supply chain back to the local communities and do the best that we can? And of course, we're not going to be able to get 100% perfection because perfection doesn't exist, but we can do our best and we can continue to move forward in focusing on our potential as a nation and within our industries and as a community, as a small business owner community. And then the other one is freedom of speech. Understanding your individual rights. I've said it before. When was the last time you read the Constitution and understood your rights as an American citizen? The government is there to serve us, the American citizen. We can forget about that. Where we have to recognize our individual rights are fragile. We have to preserve them. And that includes the freedom of speech to be able to seek out the truth and communicate the truth to you. Because on this show, I've gone in different areas that have made me uncomfortable. But I've said it before, the truth, it can be overwhelming, it can be uncomfortable, and it can give you peace. By understanding the truth and really hearing that truth, seeing the truth, not only can your quality of life improve because you can understand how to move forward, but then your community can improve for its quality of life, and then our country overall can improve. So you can expect more series to come. I'm going to focus on specific topics and expand upon those in series, really take the time to dive deep in different areas of interest of mine that I believe you'd be interested in as well. And we're going to continue to come together and move forward to make America's future small business renaissance. Please leave your thoughts in the comments of what what you could go back to for understanding the basics in a certain area of your business, and specifically your industry, and what surprised you, something new that you've learned this week. We got to continue to learn as well, and always be a student of history, student for small businesses, in industry, and a student of our country is really important. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.